Good evening and welcome to the regular meeting of the Citrus Heights City Council for April 8th, 2021. And with that, could you please post the flag and join me in the salute? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Clerk Fan, would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Bruins?
Present.
Councilmember Daniels?
Here.
Councilmember Schaefer?
Here.
Vice Mayor Middleton?
Present.
And Mayor Miller.
Here.
This meeting of the Citrus Heights City Council is cablecast live on Metro Cable 14, the local government affairs channel, on the Comcast Consolidated Communications and AT&T Uverse cable systems. This meeting is closed caption and live stream at citrusheights.net. Tonight's meeting replays on Sunday, April 11th at 9 a.m. on Channel 14. This meeting can also be viewed on the City of Citrus Heights YouTube channel.
Thank you, Amy. And with that, do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Move approval. Second.
Motion by Bruin, second by Middleton. All those in favor? Oh, I can't do that, shoot. A couple more meetings maybe. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Bruins?
Aye.
Councilmember Daniels?
Aye.
Councilmember Schaefer?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Middleton?
Aye.
And Mayor Miller.
Aye. And with that, let's move on to the next item, please.
Our next item is presentation, and we will have a presentation by Congressman Ami Bera on the American Rescue Plan. And he is here with us tonight.
Yeah. Great. Hi, Congressman Bera. I just wanted to introduce you as our representative to the California 7th Congressional District in the House of Representatives, and I welcome you here to our meeting tonight. It's we're here waiting to hear all the good news you have for us.
Yeah, Mayor Miller, thank you, and to all the council members. You know, I'm just going to start by, this has been a tough 12 to 14 months for all of us. Not just here. That's the understatement of the century. But, I'm also proud of, in difficult circumstances, you also saw neighbors helping other neighbors. I know in my own neighborhood, looking out for some of the more vulnerable of our neighbors, going to get their groceries and run chores. And there's been a couple times through this pandemic where I've thought we've seen light at the end of the tunnel. I feel like we're there as, we're now vaccinating about 3 million Americans a day. And I can see very shortly that we could get up to 4 million. And you're seeing case numbers come down. I'm excited to see schools starting to open and folks get back to school. But, it's been a tough year for small business owners, families. I'm grateful that our daughter's out of college, so we didn't have a school-age child, but I am totally empathetic to those parents that have, 1 or 2, 3 kids that are school-age and they're trying to work, teach them at home. And again, you have, my support. I know that the city council has been totally supportive. So when we were thinking about the American Rescue Plan, it really was with those families, those business owners, those vulnerable folks in mind, thinking about how could we really put this pandemic behind us, but also how could we, as quickly as possible, try to get back to some semblance of normalcy. And to the residents of Citrus Heights, your council was very upfront when we talked 6-7 months ago about the real impact it had on the city to provide, some of the services that I think folks have gotten used to. So we really did listen to that. We went to bat for the city and the county and counties across the country, Republican and Democratic counties, to say, how can we get back to normal as quickly as possible, how can we get our kids back in school and try to make up for the lost year that many of them had? But then really, how can we get those small businesses that are really the backbone of our communities up and running so we can give people a paycheck, not an unemployment check? And I think that's at the heart of what the American Rescue Plan is all about. And I see there's some slides up here, and I'll just run through some of what is in it to help Citrus Heights, and then happy to take any of the council members' questions. So can we go to the next slide? So, when you look at the benefits that are coming directly to the city of Citrus Heights, and this wasn't the case in some of the packages that we passed previously in terms of the CARES Act, that really went to the county. It didn't go directly to the city. This will be coming directly to the city, and I'll say that it's an estimated amount, but I think it'll be close to this number, close to $16 million that are coming to the city of Citrus Heights. So that should help, restore services, help those nonprofits, businesses, and others. What these funds can be used for, and as you get older, you have to put your reading glasses on, so bear with me. Obviously the public health and economic impacts, that was the grounding basis for this. But the city can use this to provide hazard pay for folks that have to put themselves at risk while we're still not quite out of this pandemic, certainly to replace lost revenue from the pandemic. You can also use it as we're hopefully using these resources that are one time to also think about how we plan for the future. So water, sewer, broadband infrastructure. But you can also look at the nonprofits that have really stepped up and helped us get through this, to support those nonprofit organizations, the special purpose units, special districts, et cetera. So, we didn't want to be restrictive and tell the city how they could use it, because, we trust that the council members and the city understand, their residents the best. But we also, for transparency and so forth, we want to work very closely, and my staff and I will work closely with the mayor and the city council members to get a good sense of the impact of how these funds are being used, and how they're helping us recover, but also build for a brighter future. If we could go to the next slide. The one thing that, and this doesn't really pertain to Citrus Heights, because I know you've been very fiscally responsible and so forth, but the funds weren't meant to offset pension obligations and things like that. They were really meant to help the residents and the services and restore things. And again, I know that doesn't pertain to Citrus Heights, but it does to other cities and counties around the country. The timing of the disbursement is that you'll get 50% of the allocation sent no later than 60 days after the bill was signed. That was March 11th. So, you can anticipate within 60 days of March 11th. The remaining 50% will be sent no later than 12 months after the first payment. And the funds have some flexibility, but the funds are available until December 31st, 2024. We can go to the next slide. With regards to the other real priority was education and safely opening up the schools, but also doing what we could to help our children recover that one year that they've lost of education. So that's school programs and summer programs, et cetera. So it's estimated that San Juan Unified School District will receive about $130 million. That also should modernize and create safer schools, the ventilation systems, and hopefully can be used in a smart way. And I'll be doing something similar with the school districts to get a sense of how they're using these funds to educate our kids for the 21st century, but also to get kids safely back in schools, and the innovations to try to help make up for this last year. Obviously, a lot of folks have had trouble paying their rent, their mortgages, et cetera. So there's funding in there for that. This is a pandemic, so how can we help folks get their vaccine and get access to care? and then again, small businesses really have struggled through this. So it expands some of the programs that we've had previously, as well as restaurants and others. It'll give direct grants to restaurants and particularly focusing in on the smaller independent restaurants, women, minority, and veteran-owned businesses. So you can go ahead and take the slides down, and I'm happy to take some questions. I mean, a couple other things that are available to us is we're starting to think about this is the rescue plan, but how do we actually put people back to work in the recovery piece? And you'll hear a lot of the president last week talked about the Jobs and Recovery Act to get people back to work. I think that's a starting point. There'll still be a lot of negotiations that happen as we go back and forth to see how that bill comes about. But I think of it as an infrastructure bill and a chance to build out broadband to make sure everyone has that access, but also to do some projects, in terms of, roads, bridges, highways, water infrastructure, and things, hopefully, that set us up for the next, 20, 25 years if we're smart and strategic about this. So I'll stop with that. I'm happy to take any questions, but again, look forward to working with the city council and all of you, as well as your city staff to make sure we not just put an end to this pandemic, but we also help folks recover, but then set ourselves up for what could be a bright, few decades. So I'll stop with that.
Thank you, Congressman. Question I had on the last slide was who will be administering some of these things like funding for renter and homeowner assistance? Is that going to come from the federal government or is that something the city will be doing?
Some of that will come through, the federal government. It could come through county programs and so forth. But I will have my staff get you that exact information in terms of how that'll be monitored. But I think a lot of it, the intent is to try to push it as close to home as possible.
Thank you. Questions, comments from council members?
I have a question and a comment.
Councilmember Schaefer, please.
Yes. Well, welcome, Congressman Ibarra. Appreciate your coming forward and talking with us about this. So, when we talk about 15 million, nearly $16 million, and we look at the economic devastation that some of the restaurants and some of the businesses, I'm thinking about Sunrise Rollerland, for example, that have been shut down for 14 months. It's the $15 million is just really nothing more than a drop in the bucket compared to the revenue that they've lost. And I realize that there's not a lot, there's just not a huge pot of money to be dispensed here. But at the same time, if we invest that in infrastructure and we build an economic engine that will support those businesses' economic recovery quicker, I think when we start, the concern is that we pigeonhole how this money can be spent. When we look at, and I realize that you have another bill that you guys are working on in Washington, but that's really the key for building long-standing economic recovery is supporting the businesses and putting people back to work and giving people the confidence that that when they want to spend their money, that they're not going to have to worry so much about how far that money has to go. So I certainly, my question would be, is it in this current program, what is there for specifically for businesses that have been struggling and really are just trying to stay afloat for the next couple months? I understand the governor says that everything will be open by June 15th. That can't come soon enough. But what funding is there available to put people back to work today?
Yeah, so we've extended the Paycheck Protection Program loans. That's one item that we have. We've also extended some of the emergency loans that folks can get through the Small Business Administration, and I'll certainly make sure our staff provides that information to the City Council to really try to get through those businesses through the next month or two. I hope June 15th comes sooner than June 15th, actually, because I think you're absolutely correct that this has been a devastating year for a lot of those small businesses. We've also tried to not be directive with how the city council can use that $15 million. So, certainly would encourage the city council to think about ways that they can help bridge, the most impacted businesses as they start to try to come out of this. And, again, we've seen a lot of businesses in our community close, and the hope here is that this funding at least helps boost our economy, that folks will start going out, as it is certainly is safer today than it was 6 months ago. And hopefully we're fully open by the summertime. So, but there's nothing any of us can do to make the last 12 or 14 months go away, other than all come together as a community and try to get out of this as quickly as possible.
Great, thank you.
I have a question, Steve. Congressman Rivera, thank you for and sharing this with us. As I was looking at the slides, one of the questions, the burning question has been, first of all, how much? And we've kind of had an inkling of that, and you have verified that tonight. But then I heard you say as least restrictions as possible. I think that's the big question I have, and that is, once we receive these checks, is there further direction coming from Washington on how we can use these funds, or is that going to be left to our discretion?
So there may be a few restrictions, but I think the intent outside of the making sure that folks weren't taking this money and backfilling any unfunded pension obligations. Right. We really wanted to for the loss of revenue that the cities, so the services that you provide to, we didn't want to dictate how you could use these funds. We think best the needs of the cities and where you could use these funds for the most impact. So our expectation is that you'll work with your staff, and the one thing we probably will do is then come back and again, just for full transparency and so forth, let you decide how to use the funds, but probably ask how did you use the funds, how effective was it, so we can all learn from this. But I don't want to come and tell you, Jeannie, this is the best way to use these funds. Better than I probably what would have the most impact.
Well, that's very good news. I want to thank you for that. And I think a report back would be appropriate. When we give out funds, we want to our nonprofits, we want to hear back from them. So we'll gladly report back how we use these funds. And
we'll be asking the county and the other cities as well, because we also may learn things from this, right? We may, one city may do something that has real huge impact that we could learn from.
Yeah. Yes, thank you.
I'll go next.
Councilmember Daniels, please.
Thank you. I'm having connection problems, and so my video is turned off, but hopefully you can hear me okay. I do want to take definitely a moment to thank the congressman for coming out personally and presenting this to us. It's a busy time. He's a busy man. The district lays out a little probably more difficult in getting out because there's 3 cities in it. But you've answered 2 critical areas for us, and that is the timeline. We're working on our budget, and this really helps us, I think, with knowing we might see those first funds. But then also to echo what Councilmember Bruins was saying, that it really hopefully will come with as few restrictions as possible, because what is needed here is different than what is needed in Folsom or Elk Grove. And so hopefully being able to do what we need to do with those funds and as easy as possible will be the direction. We're responsible to our citizens, and if we screw it up, then it's on us. But hopefully we do the right thing with it, and again, hopefully we're able to easily move it to wherever we need. But thank you, Congressman, for coming personally and presenting this to us.
You're welcome, of course. And again, we're all in this together. And as you rightfully pointed out, that each city and our community is a little bit different. The needs are a little bit different, but then you think about how diverse our country is as well. And I think it's always dangerous when the federal government does a one size fits all. So again, I think that all of you as council members, are going to better understand the impact in the businesses and how your community was impacted. And again, this is where I want to work with the various city councils, and I'll be going to a board of supervisors meeting at the county because they're also getting funding. And I also would encourage the cities and the counties to work together if there are particular areas of needs, and maybe even across city lines. If one area that I think we ought to think outside of the box is around homelessness, because we've thrown millions of dollars at it, and the problem's getting worse. And I think we have to, and it's not just the city of Sacramento problem. When I talk to all of you, it's an issue in the suburbs as well, and we've got to figure this out. And maybe there's a way to leverage funds across the county, but also across the cities in different ways. Again, I encourage all of you to be creative in how you can use these funds both to help make up that lost revenue, help families and businesses that have been impacted by the pandemic, but also think about some of the challenges that are out there and potentially help us solve some of these things.
Thank you. Portia?
Yes, Congressman, my colleagues have said it all. So I'll just simply say thank you for all of your efforts and making this as comprehensive as possible, but also allowing that flexibility and leniency so that we can really get the job done of supporting our residents. So thank you again.
You're welcome. And again, we're all in this together. It's been a tough 12, 14 months for all of us, particularly the folks that we work for, the folks in our community. So I look forward to working with you. Do reach out to our staff as you're thinking about ideas, and if there's ways to leverage those funds. And then as we're going out there and we're reopening, I certainly hope I can be there in person with all of you, because virtual is fine, but it's not the same as being with real people. So
I'm done with Zoom and WebEx and Teams and everything. I can't wait to get out. I got a bit of good news tonight. Well, we all did. One of the creative things we're able to do, because I was very concerned, we had our budget workshop earlier today, and our general fund is, we've had to make some serious cuts. And one of the things I was most fearful of is our Navigator program, which has been really successful with the homeless and getting folks housed into services and preventing homelessness before it happens. One of the creative things we found with the relaxing and the increase in CDBG funds is that we're able to fund the Navigator program. And so we'll be able to keep the position, and that relieves our general fund. So hopefully that's legal.
Yeah, I think
it works.
I think it is, but I'll leave it to your staff. But the Navigator program is great, right? Because it's getting people and connecting them to the resources that they need. Yeah. And, hopefully, before they're homeless, as you already pointed out, Mayor, intervening early on. And again, I think it's programs like that have a real return on investment. That you're spending a little bit of money on the front end, but you're helping someone keep their lives together. And so thank you for that. And again, I'm glad that program's going to continue.
That we have one of the best navigators in the country. Let me tell you.
Fantastic. So, yeah. Well, I know you guys have a lot of business. Unless there's other questions, again, thank you for giving me a few moments. And I'm thankful that we see the light at the end of the tunnel. God bless all the families and what we've gone through, and let's come out stronger, more resilient, and kinder to one another. So I'm an optimist always. I think all of in elected office, we always have to be optimists, and just the gratitude of being able to serve our community and our country. So thank you for your part.
Thank you very much, not only for joining us tonight, but all the help you and your staff has been given to the city. I really appreciate it.
Great. Everyone be safe. Have a wonderful evening.
Take care. Okay, and with that, let's go to the next item.
The next item is presentation number 5, a presentation by Gary Goodman with the Sacramento Yellow Mosquito and Vector Control District, and he is joining us tonight, and I would like to turn it over to him to give his presentation.
Mr. Goodman, welcome.
All right, well, thank you so much. I hope everybody can hear me, and I think I'm going to share my screen here because I got a brief presentation, so hopefully this works. Can you see the screen there? Should say mosquito control matters. All right. Perfect. Well, again, I want to thank the council for inviting us to come out. Obviously, we're all a little bit tired of Zoom. Unfortunately, I don't have the same news that Congressman Barra has with the potential end of the pandemic in sight and/or money coming to the individual cities. I'm going to talk a little bit about mosquitoes, what we're anticipating for this upcoming season, and just making sure that the council's aware of the challenges and the issues that we're facing for this upcoming season. So in general, we see a lot of different types of mosquito breeding sources, anywhere from backyard tires or old buckets that are in people's yards. Green swimming pools are another issue for us. And then some of the bigger sources that we have in Sacramento and Yolo County, we're very diverse from the perspective. We have rice fields and wetlands and those types of things. And all of those things breed mosquitoes that have an impact on our daily lives, whether it be backyard, wanting to enjoy the backyard barbecue and not being bothered by mosquitoes. And of course, absolutely the threat of potential disease such as West Nile virus. So our district takes what we call an integrated mosquito management approach. The first one is public information. So we talk a lot with the general public. We have a very active advertising campaign where we do radio and television, social media aspects, all of those types of things to be able to try to help educate the public as to what they can do to prevent mosquito production. But then also prevent getting bitten and understand that the threats that are out there from a disease perspective. Our second component is surveillance. We set thousands of traps during the course of the year in our area to make sure that we understand what the population is doing and the different species that we have. And then, of course, testing for diseases such as West Nile. Then we have a very active biological control program. That's the mosquito fish here in the middle of the screen. We offer these free of charge. Our district probably has the largest mosquito fish breeding facility in the country. We plant over 3,000 pounds of fish just in Sacramento and Yolo County. And all you have to do is give us a call. We'll be more than happy to come out and take care and plant those fish for you. We also have an ecological management department that works with landowners such as U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, California Department of Fish and Wildlife, other landowners to make sure that they're doing proper maintenance on their property so they're not breeding mosquitoes and then causing a problem for their neighbors. And then finally is what we call chemical control. That's the pesticides that we apply in the water for larvicides and adulticides to reduce the mosquito population. Our goal is to try to get them in their aquatic stage, so in the water itself, because if we can get them before they emerge as adults, then they don't have the opportunity to take a blood meal from a bird and contract a virus that they can pass on to humans. And so our goal is to try to get them in the aquatic stage. However, when we do get high thresholds of high adult mosquitoes and/or infected mosquitoes, that's when we have to do more aggressive measures, specifically up into including an airplane over urban populations. So that is still an option for us. In general, just what we've seen over the last couple of years, West Nile virus in California. The last few years, just a few over 200 cases. In 2017, we saw a big surge there. But one thing I just want to report on this is the fact that most of these human cases that are reported are actually what they call the neuroinvasive form of the disease, a very serious form of disease, requires hospitalization, can lead to paralysis and even blindness and, of course, death. And so the cases actually go significantly underreported. So the CDC estimates that for every neuroinvasive form of the disease, you have anywhere from 30 to 70 other cases that just go unreported. People that feel sick, that still have an impact on their life, but they just don't get diagnosed or they don't go to the doctor or the doctor never tests for it. So really, you're talking about thousands of people per year that are getting infected with West Nile in California. And so we want to make sure that people understand that it's a very real risk and that there's certain various easy measures that they can do to try to help prevent that. Here's what we saw in Citrus Heights last year. So the Citrus Heights boundaries, the red circles are positive mosquito samples that we collected. And the yellow triangles are positive dead birds that came back positive for West Nile. And so you can even see some things on the outskirts of town. Obviously, mosquitoes don't recognize borders. If they're born in citrus heights, they just don't stay in citrus heights, they'll fly. And so the same. So we want to give you a snapshot as to what we saw. So last year for us, this was a pretty average year. It wasn't a really heavy year, but we think that our mitigation measures helped try to keep the numbers down at a respectable level, to the point where we didn't have to do any aggressive measures like the aerial applications. A new concern, I think we brought up this over the last couple of years, and specifically in Citrus Heights, 2 years ago, we found an invasive species of mosquitoes. So just in general, in the Sacramento Valley, we have about 23 different species of mosquitoes that are endemic here. Some cause disease or can transmit disease. Some are just nuisance mosquitoes. But we're starting to see an incursion of these invasive mosquitoes called Aedes aegypti that have made their way up from South America, Mexico, and now into Southern California. And just over the last couple of years, it's made its way into the Sacramento Valley. And so in 2019, we actually found these mosquitoes in Citrus Heights, and I'll show you a quick map on that. And the concern, obviously, with this particular mosquito is this is a very efficient vector of the more exotic diseases that we have, like Zika, dengue, chikungunya. And of course, we have cases of these every year in Sacramento County. Typically, they're all travel related. So somebody travels to an area that is endemic for one of these diseases. They come back here, they start to exhibit symptoms, they get sick, they get diagnosed. And so the concern that we have is that if we get this particular mosquito established here, then we could have local transmission. And we want to make sure that people are aware of that, and that there's some simple things that they can do to try to help prevent that. So here is the detections of invasive mosquitoes. And so right here in the upper right-hand corner, you can see Citrus Heights and a lot of red circles. This is what we found in 2019. We did some very aggressive treatments, both ground or all ground treatments, both larviciding and adulticiding in the Citrus Heights area. And actually last year we weren't able to find any. So the one challenge that with this particular mosquito species is they're very difficult to find, they're very difficult to trap, and they like people. So they like to be in people's backyards in very cryptic sources. They can breed in just a bottle cap of water. They don't need a whole lot of water, but it makes it very difficult to be able to try to find. But last year, we did not find the recurrence of it in Citrus Heights, which is a good sign. It doesn't mean that they're gone. It just means that we think that our efforts were effective in being able to reduce the population below detection. So here again, some of the common invasive breeding sources. These are actual pictures from people's backyards here in the Sacramento area. So you can see these buckets that are filled up with water, old tires, and even these bromeliad plants that just collect water when the sprinklers come on. Those are great breeding grounds for these types of mosquitoes. So as you can see, it's very difficult for us to be able to find this because we can't see in everybody's yard, and we don't have the resources to be able to go door to door. So we really rely on the public to be able to try to help identify if and when there is a problem, giving us a call, and so we can kind of go out there and try to target our efforts. But that's what makes this particular species such a large challenge, is the cryptic sources that they tend to be found in. So one of the things that we are looking at statewide is some innovative control strategies, and specifically what we call sterile insect technique. And this is a program that has been used by USDA for a couple other insects. Screwworm has been used for the medfly sterile insect. And so essentially what happens is that you sterilize male mosquitoes, because only female mosquitoes bite, male mosquitoes don't bite. And you sterilize the males, and then you release the males into the wild, and the males then mate with the females, but then the progeny is no good. So it's a very innovative tool that doesn't require pesticides to be able to use. And they've been doing some trials down in Fresno, Southern California, doing some work in Florida, specifically in the Florida Keys. And they've had some very successful programs with mosquitoes in some of the Caribbean islands and down in Brazil. And so this is something that the state is actually looking at in terms of being an innovative tool to use. Obviously, it's very highly regulated by EPA and USDA, and it's accepted for this type of use. But it's interesting the fact that we're trying to be innovative in how we control mosquitoes and looking at things that are outside what our normal means are. And so this is really a truly innovative way to try to go about controlling mosquitoes. And we're glad that researchers are starting to look at the mosquito problem and seeing if there's a way to try to innovate using this sterile insect technique. So with that, what we are anticipating for this upcoming season, still, and I think I've mentioned this before at the council, is, you know, when we come out of a drought, we tend to have a worse West Nile year. And so that's what we're kind of anticipating this year, is just the fact that we haven't had a whole lot of rainfall. And so it seems a little counterintuitive, but for the most part, our data has shown that when we're a year after a drought, that we tend to have worse West Nile. So we want people to be vigilant. We want people to contact us if they're being bothered by mosquitoes. Let us know where they live so that we can come and do a site visit. We can look in and around the area to be able to try to find where those breeding sources may be, and then also helping to get the information out about the dangers associated with West Nile and very simple measures that they can try to do to prevent that, which is, you know, not breed mosquitoes in your own property, put on a good repellent, and report any mosquito activity to the district. This is what we do. And so you can get more information on our website at fightthebite.net. And I did also want to mention two other things. We also do tick surveillance. So we look for Lyme disease, and we also do yellow jackets. So if you have a yellow jacket problem, you can give us a call. And then the other thing, you have an excellent board member on our board that's represented by Citrus Heights, Dr. Jana Karpinski-Costa. She said I think she's watching online is what she said, but she's a very strong advocate for mosquito control. I think is very vocal in the community, helps hand out repellent during the course of the season, specifically at the 4th of July firework displays that are throughout Citrus Heights. And so we're very happy that you've appointed her to our board. She does an excellent job. So with that, I know you guys are busy, so I'll take any questions if you have them.
Thank you, Gary. Great presentation. Any questions or comments for Mr. Goodman?
Just one. Hi, this is Jeannie Bruins. I agree. I think we've got a super representative on your.
Oh, Jeannie, you accidentally muted yourself.
Oh, sorry. All those wonderful comments for nothing. Okay. So I want to thank you for coming today and tell you that I agree with you about Jana. I don't know anybody who's more enthusiastic about mosquito control than she is, and she's represented us well for many years. I have a question though, and that is, do you select areas proactively to test, or do you wait to see if there is a presence?
A little bit of both. So we kind of have a random sampling. We have certain traps that we set every year to try to just give us a baseline as to what's happening in that particular area over the course of years. And then based on other surveillance that we have, so whether it may be a service request that calls in, but we just set out in various areas random sampling.
Okay.
And so then it's guided a little bit, like if we were to pick up a dead bird and we tested that bird and it came up positive, then we would start to set traps in and around that area where that bird was, so we could try to see what was the activity in that particular area. So, you know, ideally we would love to have a trap, you know, every square mile of the district, but you know, resource wise, that's just not feasible. So it's a little bit of scattershot, but then it also becomes very focused once we find something, and then we tag on to that. So so it is we have, I think, I'll brag a little bit. I know I'm the district manager, I probably shouldn't, but we have one of the most aggressive and comprehensive surveillance programs in the country. So a lot of people throughout California and throughout the country come to our district and want to see how we do things so that they can try to take that back home. So we're very proud of the program. We have a great staff. But yeah, it's always just a little bit of luck associated with it too, because you just never know where things are going to pop up.
Right. Thank you.
Any other questions? Well, again, thank you very much. Every year, it's very informative. I was going to ask the council if anyone knew any of the Ds.
There's 7.
There's 7. Can we do it? Portia, name a D. All right.
No.
Brett, do you know a D?
Drain.
Very good.
Drain's a winner.
Tim?
I'm drawing a blank. Sorry.
Jeannie.
I can't remember them either. It's a drain, DEET.
There you go. Ding, ding, ding.
DEET is
DEET.
the one, yes.
Dress, dawn, dusk.
Dawn, dusk.
I'm not cheating either.
No,
Did
you're
you get
not
them all?
cheating. Dress long sleeves, dawn and dusk. Avoid times when mosquitoes are active. Defend yourself with a good repellent. That's where DEET would come in. Drain any standing water. Check your doors and screens. Make sure that doors. Make sure that mosquitoes are not coming into your doors and screens. And then the last one, the easiest one, obviously, was the district. So call the district.
Won't forget that one next time.
All right. Enough. We need to get on to our business. So thank you again.
Thank you very much.
With that, we'll move on to the next item, Amy.
The next item is comments by council members and regional board updates.
Okay. Councilmember Daniels, would you like to go first tonight?
Sure, absolutely. Thank you very much. Just two things real quick. I have the pleasure of driving to the East Bay area many, many times every week. And along the way, I get to experience areas that look like a third world country due to homeless encampments that have grown like very large, that with numerous people in them along the freeway. And it's just incredibly unsightly, and it's got to be dangerous, and it's got to be dirty and all of that. And so I have noticed that in the area along Interstate 80 eastbound between Antelope and the city limits, we have a growing problem along the freeway. And I'm just shocked that Caltrans allows it to go on. Because number one, as a pedestrian, you're not supposed to be on the freeway, whether you're next to the freeway or 100 feet from it. But so I wanted to know if and I don't know if the city manager knows this right off the top. Do we have a Caltrans or state or whoever liaison of any kind? And if we don't, can we search for a way to reach out and try to do something about this? These people have got to be coming out at some point during the day or even maybe evening. And there's nothing but residential area right around there, plus Westwood Park. And so I'm just very concerned for the neighborhood. I'm concerned for the people. I mean, my God, if a vehicle goes out of control and plows into these areas, it's going to be at 60, 70 miles an hour, and it's going to be a tragedy. And so I'm just wondering if there's some way that we can start looking into this. It's not within our control, our jurisdiction, as they say, but it's certainly, hopefully, something we can influence. My other big factor in it is that this is the first thing that people see as they come from the in a westbound direction from the east into our city, and it's not the image that I want people to remember as they travel through Citrus Heights. It's just not right. And so I don't know if we have a liaison or anything like that we can reach out to directly, but if we don't, I'm hoping maybe there's somebody that we can get a hold of and make a difference. And then the second thing is just really quick. Happy birthday to my son, Christopher. Happy 36th birthday. I couldn't be more proud of you.
Thank you, Brett. Councilmember Schaefer.
Well, thank you, Mayor. So I didn't have any board meetings since our last meeting, but I did see quite a lot of celebration around Easter and to our Jewish friends Passover. But I would like to point out to the members of our Muslim community that we have Ramadan that starts April 12th, and that goes for 30 days, ends May 11th. So, friends of our community, I'd like to say Ramadan Mubarak.
Very good. Councilmember Bruins.
Thank you. I also did not have any regional meetings since our last council meeting, but today I did attend the Citrus Heights Water webinar. They're doing a webinar once a month at noon on the what is today? The second Thursday of the month, or the first Thursday of the month. And today it takes about 45 minutes, including Q&A. And it's all about water wise and tips on your gardening in your yard. And today we talked about how to apply repellents to insects without using chemical pesticides and to enrich the soil in your yard so that you have better growth. And it was very interesting. And it's free. Anybody can sign up for it and go on the Water District's website. And it was very engaging. So I just wanted to give them a shout out and to advertise that to our listening audience. Thank you.
Thanks, Jeannie. Vice Mayor Middleton?
Yes, a couple things. This past Saturday, I went out with the Citrus Heights PAL board volunteers, and we went around and we egged some houses. So we played Easter Bunny. We went to local residences. I believe the report was we had about 40 households throughout the city, dozens and dozens of eggs that we delivered. And really exciting news from my SACOG policy meeting, which is that we are going to be recommended for our Auburn Boulevard Complete Street Revitalization Project to be fully funded at our next board meeting on April the 15th. So fingers crossed and everything goes wonderfully well. We'll get an estimated $9 million to fully fund that project.
Thank you. That's good news. For myself, Wednesday, the city manager and I did a short presentation for the Rotary Club. And today, this ties into what Portia reported. Things are falling in place because we approved $8.3 million to be from SACOG. And I guess the part we approved is a $676,000 from the Smart Growth Program, STA, to make up that final $9 million. We also approved $600,000 for Greenback Lane. That was extended. We had already got approval for that, but extended to this fiscal year 21-22 to get the area from Fair Oaks Boulevard to Sunrise complete streets. And we also got approval for $300,000 each to Sunrise and Antelope projects. Both of those would happen in the fiscal year, hopefully 22-23. And these are used for our local match for grants to get these projects done. And the only other thing, I don't have anything to report from Regional Transit other than we have a meeting coming up this Monday. And since the restaurants are starting to reopen, Smart Ride on-demand service, if you have a group of 5 or more, they can ride free. You still need to wear a mask, but if you're interested in that, going out and getting chauffeured to a restaurant and brought right back home, door to door. It has to be in the city of Citrus Heights. Go to the website, sacrt.com, I believe. Anyway, you type in SACRT, you'll get the website. And with that, that ends my report. Let's go on to the next item, please.
The next item is public comment. And members of the public may address the council on any item of interest of the public and within the council's purview or on any agenda item before or during the council's consideration of the item. Speakers will be limited to 3 minutes each. If you wish to address the council during the Zoom meeting, please use the raise hand function or *9 from a telephone to indicate your desire to speak. And I do have one written public comment that I will go ahead and read before seeing if there are any hands raised. The public comment is from Carly Haggett. I live on Meadow Creek Way, and I would like to address City Council about getting traffic control on our street. I have lived in my home for over 11 years and have noticed considerable decline in our neighborhood since we moved in. Traffic has increased substantially, and the speed of most drivers is outrageous. There have been several speeding accidents resulting to property damage in the last few years. I have almost been T-boned pulling into my driveway on several occasions. A few weeks ago, our next door neighbor's car was struck and totaled while parked and shoved into our adjacent neighbor's yard. Our adjacent neighbor had a speeding driver crash in her front yard. Another driver speeding down the street ran the stop sign and crashed in his cars parked in his driveway. Many do not stop at any of the stop signs on the corner of Meadow Creek and Park Oaks. Since Sunday, 4/4/21, our camera picked up over 345 cars. The kids in the neighborhood cannot ride their bikes or play out front due to traffic concerns. This must stop. We must do something to alert drivers of their speed and modify and/or correct them to slow down. I am requesting that this topic be put on an agenda to discuss not only my concerns, but the concerns of my neighbors.
Mr. Boyd, could we have someone from the traffic team contact her?
Yes, I think that's already in progress, Mayor.
Oh, good. Thank you.
And Mayor, I do see one raised hand, and it's from Ken Newts. And I will go ahead and allow you to speak, and you have 3 minutes. Ken Newts, did you have a public comment? I'm guessing that may have been by accident.
Okay, well, we can always, we've got more meetings, so if Ken would like to comment, we'll be available every 2 weeks.
Okay, thank you. And that was all the raised hands that I see.
Thank you, Amy. Let's move on to the consent calendar.
Mayor, he just raised his hand again. Can I try one more
Okay,
time?
let's see if we can get him connected.
Ken, you can now unmute yourself to speak.
Okay, I got it now.
Oh, there we go. Welcome.
I'm Ken Newts. I'm the owner of Sunrise Rural Land. We've been closed down since the beginning of COVID on March 15th. It's been extremely hard because we've burned through every resource that we've had. We've got PPP money from the government. We use that being closed to paint and fix things. It's been extremely hard because we, as restaurants have been able to open up and businesses have been able to open up, throughout this pandemic, we've been forced to be closed. And it's tough because we've been paying a connection fee to SMUD about $600 a month, to Citrus Heights Water about $200 a month. And over a year, that adds up to quite a bit, including all the insurance that we've had to pay. It's astounding what you pay for a closed business. Anyways, I just wanted to let you know that we're hoping to be open soon, and we would appreciate any help from the city to get us open. Other communities near us in Placer County have been able to open up because, well, the Placer County supervisors have not really, they actually said they won't do anything about it. So if you open up, it's fine. So the competition over there has been basically taking what I would have considered my business since, I don't know, for months now, and it's tough dealing with that. You know, we are the 10th or 11th oldest still open business in Citrus Heights. It was a Sentinel article, I think it was 2017 or 15 that they wrote that. But we're still here. We want to be here, and right. And there is a serious lack of entertainment venues left in Citrus Heights. There used to be more miniature golf, laser tag, things like that. And I think there's a bowling alley and us, and I'm not too sure who else is out there. Maybe a bounce house. I don't think there is. But we still want to be here. We want to be a part of the community. And we've always felt like a huge part of the community. Our people miss us, and they're, they want us open as soon as possible. So that's about all I got to say. So thanks for your time. And it was great listening to you guys this evening. Thank you.
Ken, I hope we can get you open. Now, let me just say that the directives come from the state and Sacramento County. We do not enforce any of these rules, and I'll just leave it at that. It's not in our purview to do so. Having said that, hopefully the county relaxes the rules and allows you to open soon.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. And good luck. You are a major part of Citrus Heights. Okay. Any other public comment?
I do not see any other hands raised.
Okay, so now we'll move on to the consent calendar.
So we have consent calendar items 6 and 7.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion by Daniels, a second by Bruins. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Bruins?
Aye.
Councilmember Daniels?
Aye.
Councilmember Schaefer?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Middleton?
Aye.
And Mayor Miller.
Aye.
The
Consent calendar passes.
The next item is department reports, and I don't believe there are any. The next item is city manager items.
Yes, briefly, thank you, Council. So just a couple of things. So we're happy to announce that Green Acres is opening this weekend. The location will be at San Juan, across from Kohl's Shopping Center at San Juan and Greenback. The mayor and I were able to visit a few weeks ago to see the construction progress and meet the Green Acres team. Excuse me. We were happy to learn the development will create approximately 40 new jobs and contribute to revitalizing our local economy. And Green Acres is also a great example of a COVID-resilient retail business. The home improvement segment is up significantly during COVID with people staying home, and we also see this as a great example of adaptive reuse in Citrus Heights. The development revitalizes aging, long vacant retail buildings and will breathe new life into the corner. So we're excited about that. And as always, you know, concerns around COVID. So as vaccination rates rise and case rates plateau, we are assessing what our operations will look like when we exit the color-coded tiered system and reopen the state under the Beyond the Blueprint system. So this change, as has been mentioned earlier, is estimated to take effect on June 15th. The economy will reopen if we're told, if vaccine supply is sufficient for California's 16 years and older who wish to be inoculated, and if hospitalization rates are stable and low. So we've heard today from Sacramento County that our case rates are plateauing while they are not decreasing. The good news is we aren't seeing an increase in cases. So this is delaying, however, our entry into the orange tier, but fortunately we're not backsliding. So we continue to monitor this regularly as we have, and that's the update. Mayor, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Boyd. And next item, please, Amy.
Next item is items requested by council members or future agenda items.
Anyone got? Go ahead, Jeannie.
Yeah, I just wanted to, we all got emails from Ken too about Sunrise Roller Land, and I just wonder if we couldn't follow up and see if there is something that can be done so that they can open. I don't know if it's a county issue or a state issue or both, but yeah. There are other venues where people congregate that are being allowed to open, and maybe we could take a look into that for him.
I would second that.
I would third that.
There you go. Boom.
Thank you.
All right. All right. Anything else from the council? Well, I have nothing. And if there's no other items, Amy?
No, there are no other items.
Then we stand adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Night.